is, right? I
Yeah.
was Divine Eye and Divine. This is Divine Eye.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was confused in the movie. But
Yeah, so we were on the phone multiple times. So most of my research about them was um text. I was just listening to them and taking notes and then follow up and then they would remember more things and how their cells would look like. Um and then right before the shoot when I had the set dressed, I had them come over and just see if it looked something like they had because it wasn't the real Sing Sing cell. The actual Sing Sing cell was even smaller than this one.
I know I
Um,
looked it up. I looked it up for Sing Sing and I was like, that is like the smallest closet I've ever had. Like it was crazy how
yeah,
small the
yeah,
cells were.
yeah. But yeah, with these guys was very like actually like there was no doing anything for show or like for the sake of camera or being concerned how it looks. It was I was just trying to recreate how it looked like for them, how they put their cells together. So we're looking at Divine Eye, who was like at the top of the food chain
Right.
inside the prison. And he was a real thug and real drug dealer and lending money to correctional officers and he was like making so much money. But so so for us it's it just looks like a cell, but if if you're
This wealth.
if
This
you're
is
someone
yeah, this is like a wealthy person's cell in Sing Sing. This is
yeah,
top of the food
yeah,
chain.
but like yeah, but if you're incarcerated, then you know that having stacks of canned food means status. Like this is
Yeah.
that means you're up there.
And he's got blankets and color, like he's
Yeah.
got,
But
color. He's, been able to bring in a little luxury to his cell. That's
yeah,
what we're
he color coded that. It was deliberate and like color like there's some colors that are forbidden in at least in New York State. That's blue, black, orange and gray. And so
ah,
they can only work with whatever's left. And also, you know how people sometimes interpret blue or orange, like there's a range. Um, so yeah.
a
So
lot.
he threaded that needle and he's just like, yeah, burgundy. Like what he told me that we don't really see this in this film, but he had a pair of Jordans that were really luxurious and he would put it under his bed. Like it would look as if he was trying to tuck it under his bed, but really it was like it was on a display for everyone to see,
Oh, wow.
like to show it off. And so it was like very, yeah. On one hand, he was trying to really show his status and show off in the way how his cell looked like, but also he was just hiding hiding drugs and alcohol and money inside the cell, and you wouldn't be able to spot it really.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and but also what's important that since he was a kid, he was into arts and he was drawing and painting, and he liked Shakespeare even before he got into prison. He's like he's a he's incredible. And we recreated some of his wildlife drawings right there on the wall.
Yeah, that's
It's
great.
just a hint.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's great.
But
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it definitely shows, people have time on their hands and people doesn't, just because you're incarcerated doesn't mean your creativity stops and, you know,
Yeah. And that picture right there on the wall, it says real daughter and his real grandkids. He
um,
just gave it to us.
and then
Mm.
this is the main characters, Divine G,
Yeah.
which is
This is Divine
fantastic. I wish
G.
they spent a little bit more time in there. I'm sorry to say, I wish they did because there's so much to absorb. There's so much going on. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it was about his case, and it looks like family photos, and he had written a book, right? And so
Yeah.
to me, it was like there's a lot going on in this guy's mind and everything, and I just wanted more of it. And I feel like there's a great scene, but it's nighttime and you don't get to see much at all. So it's like, but how
Yeah.
in developing his character cell, I'm
Mhm.
sure he was involved also.
Yeah, so same thing with Divine Eye. We just had phone calls, and he was so generous with sharing like all the materials that he could really, because his cell, the Divine Eye cell is all about the exterior and showing off, and Divine G's cell was literally his mind map. Like you could see into his brain because he was like hyper focused on work, and he did so much during his like 25 years in prison, wrongful incarceration. So that's like real story. I know I'm talking like about a character, but
No, yeah, it's a
Divine G is a real
story. Yeah, it's
person.
a real
Yeah.
person who's wrongly
Yeah.
accused for 25 years. I mean, it's awful. It's so
Yeah.
awful.
And he wrote like 13 novels while he was in prison. So like he wrote plays, he studied law to free himself, but also he helped a lot of other people, just like he does in the movie.
Mhm.
So he had like stacks of law books, and those are not just like random law books. Like those are literally the ones that he used. Like he sent pictures of what he would have, and like all the papers on the wall, those are pages from his novel. He would have checklists that were daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, just for him to have a visual reminder of what he needs to do. So and also just like pictures of his family and his little brother and of him breakdancing when he was young. So yeah, so like all of that was visible, and opposite to Divine Eye, like his clothes were just like in a box tucked under his bunk, bunk bed. That's it.
It's such a it's such a wonderful challenge sometimes to decorate and design in such a confined space because your limitations are so strict and you have to get the character out visually in just so many little spots. And especially if the actor or the real person, if it's a lot of times it's not the real person playing the character, if they're helping you or they're giving you references, it's so helpful in trying to make that work with the camera. So I think it's just wonderful how it was able, even, I mean, this is like you're peeking through an eye hole, but you get to see so much of who he is in this shot. It's really wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
for noticing that. And it was really, I think, it also speaks to how little is allowed in prison.
Yeah.
Um, starting with color, ending with like you cannot have anything metal or um so everything is so restricted, and somehow someone's personality still shines through
Yeah.
just by looking at someone's cell. And yeah, it wasn't like made for show. His walls were like this. It was interesting for me to see um um how visually impactful real things are. You could almost say like, oh, okay, you decorated it for show, but it was like this was the real thing. Like we just try to recreate it as truthfully as we could.
Yeah. I mean, you get a bed, you get the locker, you get the desk and chair, that's and a light. I mean, I'm sure from there, and then you build the character around it. It's like, and plus the lived in value of someone being in the cell for 25 years is a lot, you know?
Mm, yeah.
I wanted to, though I skipped over because I got excited about characters. The beginning of this scene, in the very first scene, when he's doing, I believe, Macbeth, and this beautiful backdrop that you gave to his character. Um, how did you create this? Is this toilet paper? I assumed it was toilet paper.
No, no, it's actually Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh,
It's
Midsummer's
like
like,
this,
sorry.
yeah, it's like this forest. No, but we made it out of trash bags. So those are green trash bags.
Oh,
Um,
now I get it. Because I was like, how did they do that? It's just so pretty, though.
oh, thank you. No,
Hilarious.
yeah, yeah. So the foliage is trash bags, and this is one of the theater sets that we were not replicating
Hmm.
from what they actually had in Sing Sing. It was kind of proprietary to the movie, so we just lean into what they could have had inside the prison. Um, and yeah, just simple materials, something that's inexpensive and easy to work with. But yeah, we just used trash bags to create foliage of this forest, and then used mostly candy foil to cut out um, little butterflies and birds, and also just some gels.
It's
So yeah,
crazy.
that's
It
it.
it really is that kind of like found material type limitation of design. It's so fun. It's so fun. Like I'm sure when you're in it, you're like, what are we gonna do? But it is like, wow, that is, you gotta get creative in here. You only have so many materials to use. How are we gonna make this? It's great.
Yeah, but it was actually a lot. It was so much fun,
Yeah.
really. Um, yeah, and
And then but they show it wider than this shot, but this is the only one I have.
hmm yeah.
That's um to get to the location of the prison. So
hmm
was there a lot of, were you painting? Were you aging? How was it left, like the condition that you had to, and then
hmm
make it, shoot worthy?
hmm Mm, to be honest, not much painting at all. It was more about just selecting the right location.
Mm,
And the like at least for me, what was interesting about the selection process and where we sh shot it, and it's like very much a collective effort with Greg Queed, our director and cinematographer. Pat Scola was like we were in these spaces that were just sunlit, and especially this one, it just looks like a classroom. Half a wall is yellow and the bottom is pink, and I think you're used to different kinds of prison in movies where it's just dark and like there's one light bulb and then there's a puddle. But really just to show that prisons are just like really oppressive architecture could be deceiving in their looks. Um, but like sometimes the windows are blown out, but there's like barbed wire,
yeah.
you know, uh, you know, in front of every window, and like those windows never open, and like the pinks and yellows are so deceiving. You could think, oh, like they probably had fun, like they were fine inside this prison, but it's
Right.
a real prison, you know.
Yellow and pinks are such happy colors.
Yeah. Um.
You
And
have,
yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
room to me was this at the prison or is this somewhere else?
Yeah. So this is another decommissioned prison. Um. It is also in upstate New York.
Hmm.
It's in Warwick. Right now, it belongs to a soccer school for kids, but it
Hmm.
used to be a prison. And yeah, this auditorium.
It's,
Um,
I mean, look at that woodwork and everything. That ceiling is so fantastic.
yeah, it's incredible.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
How
So
long was your shooting? Like, were you shooting in the prison for like 2 weeks and then you went somewhere else, or were you back and forth, or?
yeah, yeah, no, pretty much like that. No, we shot our portion at downstate. I think it was for around 2 weeks. Then we moved into the theater, which we shot at a school that had a theater near
Hmm.
the prison in Beacon, and then we moved on into this daylight theater, which was another decommissioned prison that was older.
How long was your prep for this?
It was really quick. It was maybe 5 weeks
Hmm. That's good.
out
Yeah.
of yeah. And I have to say that this is um on the production side, it's not a big movie and it's incredible, but like just to, let you know the scope. At the minimum, I was by myself. At the maximum, I was like four people total, the art department, plus some volunteers from the school.
Right. I think it says on the credits, is it the
Mhm.
director's brother was your set
Oh
dresser?
no, his son.
His
His
son.
son.
His son.
Yes.
Did you have a decorator on this or no?
No, 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 no.
It was just you. It was just you
It was
and
just me. It was me and my right hand, Jacob Harbeck, who who's this incredible guy who I met in LA, and he just had this incredible work ethic, and he had theater experience in New York and a lot of scenic painting. So he and his brother Michael Harbeck, he's also like a stage manager and just incredible guy, and also has a lot of theater experience in New York. So they were my rocks, and also Omar, I guess. So we were basically that was our team.
yeah. I also read, which you can tell me to shut up, but
Hmm.
I also read that in an effort to ensure a livable wage, everyone was provided the same wage and offered ownership and stake of the film. Is that true?
Yes. Yes,
That
that's
is
true.
awesome. That is
That's
awesome.
incredible. That's incredible.
And
And yeah, that's I think how yeah, it just shows what this movie's about. So
yeah,
everyone, the crew, like, Oscar nominee or a PA made the same wage, like
that's
the same mint.
blows my mind. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't blow my mind in a sense because you make different wages on different things and you could walk across the street and make less and doing the same job. Like it's a crazy world that we work in. But to value the people who are giving to this project so much, to say that, look, we want this to happen so much that you get paid this, but then like back end, we want to share in this. That to me is like, that's like creative Hollywood. Like that's really doesn't happen a lot. And it's so nice to hear. I mean, I don't know if anybody's gonna become billionaires off of this or anything, but for me, if I was offered something like that, I'd be in, because that means the creative is so passionate about this project and they care so much, and I want to be a part of something like that. I think that's so fantastic. So I applaud anyone who came
Mhm.
up with that, and I think it's great for anyone being a part of it too. I'm sure you're probably like, yeah, but I was eating crackers. But at the same time, you're a part
No,
of
I mean,
beautiful film. I mean,
no, it's such a gift, and like people who came up with it was Greg Cuitar and Clint Bentley, who are authors of this movie, and they came up with this model where everyone, just to keep the cost of making a movie lower, because even like a low budget film, I sometimes look up films if they even broke even, you know, even what we call a low budget, and like good luck making like whatever 2 or 4 million back.
yeah,
Um,
hard.
but uh, yeah, just to be able to shoot a movie and their back end is meaningful. It's like people like they give it's not it's not after the main investors make their 120% back. So everyone shares it. So um and what's also important is like this is like a model, but and a contract, but just the way this movie was made was just like a living proof of that. So everyone was equal. Everything was really horizontal. Everyone was like respected and everybody's opinions really mattered. So our director, he shook hands with everyone and called them by names every single morning, just like acknowledged everyone in the room. Um so yeah, there's so much more behind that, I feel. Um
It's such a
yeah.
it's I mean it's kind of a downer movie, but at the same time, it's such a special movie. It's so heartfelt and so like you're so sad about these people's situation, but you're so enlightened by their passion to like create and be I don't know. I really I mean, I cried.
Oh, me
Such a
too.
such a
I
good
think
film.
another thing that's important to mention about this, the equity, is that not only the crew is being treated equally, which like, we can all relate to, but also like this movie is is made about people and by people who lived this experience, and we see their faces in front of the camera, and they are the literal owners of this movie. It's not like somebody came and, you know, took them and, here's a movie about it. They own it. And they were able to own it when during the process of creating this film.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece of work because of like it's the real people and it's their story and it's like uh, it's really good. It's really it's really good. Really sad.
Oh,
It's
thank
really
you.
good. Let's talk about more of your scenery.
Oh, thank you.
I like I just keep thinking back to like found out like you have to do like found objects. You have to like make this out of this and like paint this. And not everybody's a great painter, but we're gonna make it. Like I love it. It's like,
Oh, thank you. So, so in the movie, there's this play that everyone is working on. It's called Breaking the Mummy's Code, which is a time traveling musical comedy, and it's a real play that happened in Sing Sing and created by these people. And theater director Brent Buell actually wrote it over the weekend, and it's like a book that's like this thick. It's a giant script, and I was I was given sketches and original material um from that play. And again, I just really wanted to honor what they had, and really not to steer too much away from it. Just really give a little bit of, just give it a little bit of more of a color,
yeah,
and um, but really play within the toolkit that they had and not make it prettier or more elevated than it would have been.
right.
Um, and and at the end of the movie, there's some footage from that, so you can
Yeah.
really see like the
This,
the difference or the creative licenses that we're taking. But so we just really had fun. Really like with those theater sets. I think what's important is that the rehabilitation through the arts program, which is inside Sing Sing prison, they had like now they have a real like wood shop. They can make proper sets. It's not like, oh, they only had like, these little things. But in the very beginning of that program, like nobody believed them inside the prison,
mm,
or like there was not much trust. And the very first plays were like very bare bones. Like they used like toilet paper to come up with sets. And but slowly over time, when prison saw what kind of effect it had on the prison population, they slowly started to allow more and more things into the theater. That's how they were able to get costumes from outside and more means to create sets. So what we see in the movie is kind of the middle ground. Probably like the sets are still very, very simple. Those are basically just two-dimensional flats that were painted, and a balloon stands for a moon, and you know something that's like a psych, but really like an oversized bed sheet with which they could have gotten from like a bed sheet supplier, and as like this giant psych that you could just hit with any kind of color and it transports you to somewhere else. It's just super simple means, but emotionally or visually is just yeah, it takes you somewhere. If it's, if you need the desert, like Egyptian desert, then it's, orange. If it's like Hamlet's soliloquy, it's just like purple glue, um, sunset in the graveyard. And we had this amazing volunteer, Lori, who made the skull out of paper towels and paper tape. It was just incredible. Um, but yeah, so yeah,
It
it's just
also
really simple. I just yeah. Mhm.
it also shows how they were loaned costumes in the film, and how the community kind of supports them in doing their plays and everything, which I thought was really like eye-opening too, of like how they're supported in this program. And I'm for people, I'm not sure, I'm sure not everybody knows about it like me, like I don't know that this program is happening. And it's kind of a great way to be like, yeah, this is, people want to get their lives together and this is an outlet for them, and you need to support that. If you want people to rehabilitate, like you have to help out. You gotta like
Yeah,
some cost,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And I
um,
think what's also important, I just I just connected the dots recently that it's not that expensive to run a program like this inside of a prison. And
hmm,
compared to how much it costs to incarcerate a person per year, which
well,
is like insane. Um, and really just showing how simple those sets could be. Like you don't need much, just give these, give people some a chance, just to do it.
I wonder,
Yeah.
now that you're the expert on rehabilitation theater, is this a national, like, do they have this in many
Mhm.
prisons? Do you know?
So I I like I cannot be the like the spokesperson for this by far, but our TA is in 8 prisons. I don't want to lie, but I think in New York.
Hmm.
But what I've learned from multiple Q&As, I just heard Bren Buell, who's the director at Sing Sing and in the movies played by Paul Raci. I just heard him saying that he gets all these emails from other theater programs across the country, and they've never heard about each other. But now that they saw this movie, they're like, "Oh, like we're also doing it." So, um,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so like they don't really know about each other, but clearly, there it exists.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. Well,
Yeah,
that's
but I think the goal is like to expand it as much as possible. I recently made an introduction um with an NGO who does theater program in Lithuania. I just connected them with the people at RDA. So hopefully,
wow.
that know-how could, travel, globally.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at you. Uniting the world. This woman was a bitch. No.
She is an incredible actress.
She nailed it, but she came down hard. She was stone cold. And
Mm,
you could also feel the room, the coldness in the room. I felt, I mean, and I know they blew it out a lot, or, and his side of the room is very white behind him and everything, but um, I'm assuming this was also at the prison.
yes, and this is an interesting story because this space does not look like much, or like it's hard to like identify it visually, like what that is. But
Oh, I
in the
couldn't
script we had.
couldn't take
Mhm,
screenshot. I can't take screenshots of the screen.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like the angles that you and I want to talk about, I feel like I can never get. It's such a
Yeah.
bummer because I can't take screenshots of like screener. It's such a bummer. But
Mm,
you provided, you had this one luckily, so I had this. So, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah. No, it's fine. So yeah, like in the script, there is this parole hearing, and it's supposed to be in some kind of a courtroom. And based on all my research, I was looking for this typical courtroom. It's like, wooden wooden walls, like with a little podium for the judge. And we couldn't find it. And after scouting uh it for a few days, the manager of the facility was like, well, actually, those hearings would take at any room that was available on the day. So it could be just like any room. And just to give you a little bit of a perspective, like that person who is um um a person could wait for his parole hearing for like 10 years. And in the movie, like Coleman Domingo or like Divine G, he is literally, you know, fighting for his life. And just from like, architectural perspective, it just shows you that, oh, like this could happen wherever,
Right.
so like we could just put some chairs together, like use a stupid, school desk, um, and just, yeah, just do this parole hearing quickly. So this space in the movie, I think on the surface it looks very benign and like very nondescript, but actually it just really shows how the system treats people. Um, yeah, like they don't matter really.
It's such a sad, it's such a sad scene because he's there to like plead his case and she just breaks him down so easily and
Yeah,
he's kind of flustered by
yeah,
it. And you're like, get it together, man. Get it together. This is your one chance. Don't like stutter. Don't just get it together. And it's just a sad little scene in there. But
yeah. It's
where,
heartbreaking, and it's actually taken from his actual parole hearing. Those are real words.
hmm,
And
that's what she said to him?
yeah,
Really? Oh
yeah,
man.
it's taken from the transcript of his parole hearing. And actually, his parole packet is visible on those tables right here. I was like, if you ever had to print out a document, you know that 100 pages is not that much. And this was an extremely thick book of just like letters of recommendations. And yeah.
Oh, that's so
Like when yeah, it really chokes you up when you actually take that. It's like a piece of prop, but it's like just like too real.
oh, that's so sad. It's so
Yeah.
sad because you so sad to be mean to someone like that. You know, it's so sad.
Yeah.
Um, but that actress nailed it. She was a bitch. She
Yeah.
was,
I mean, we can spoil it. It's in the trailer. She has, "Are you acting right now?"
yeah.
During
He's like
his parole
pleading out his
hearing.
heart of like, I'm a good person. I'm a blah, blah. And she's like, oh, are you in the acting program? Are you acting now? And he's like, no, I'm not acting now. And then it's just such a using something so good against him. It's just so sad. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Did I have I think that was my last